Thanks, Ted. We'll get this news conference underway in just a few moments. For this news conference, the rules for coverage are a little bit different. You are permitted to shoot with video. You're permitted to stream live to any platform that you choose. You're permitted to record. You're permitted to use all social media sites. For the remainder of the day, that's not the case, but for this one, that is certainly permissible, as we'd love this award celebrated on multiple platforms. Good morning, John. Well, joining us in the main interview room here this morning and all day, we remind you to please silence your cell phone and please refrain from the use of flash photography. If you need satellite information, we are on the uplink all day. Please visit our friends from Hammond Communications in the middle of the room for the satellite information. We have microphone attendants. They're outstanding and skilled and very experienced after yesterday. They're here to help you take your questions. Please state your name and media outlet before you get to your question. We'll begin our news conference in just a moment. Morning, Serby. How you doing? It's going to be in media breakout room number 3. And I'm in charge, so don't mess around.
Can I have one of those?
Even though it's difficult for you, we're going to ask you not to mess around this morning. It's Good Friday, Serby. Yes. The action continues. Grand Hyatt headquarters. Everything's good. And this happened 3 weeks ago. Thank you. It's been a busy March. Yeah. Madison between 37 and 38. All my stuff's the same. Hit me up. Thank you. Ready to roll. Fellas, we ready to roll? All right. We're set to begin. We're going to use all 5 Deus mics besides mine as well.
Got it here, Oscar. Go ahead, Gregorian.
This morning we're joined by USBWA Executive Director Joe Mitch, the Hall of Famer, the legend Oscar Robertson, the USBWA Oscar Robertson Trophy winner and National Player of the Year Jalen Brunson, his head coach from Villanova, Jay Wright, and the president of the U.S. Basketball Writers Association, Vahe Gregorian. Vahe.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Player of the Year announcement given annually in the name of Oscar Robertson, the great Oscar Robertson, who's here in the middle of the table with the iconic trophy in front of him. I'm Vahe Gregorian. I'm president of the USBWA and represent our nearly 1,000 voters, members, I should say, but it's through that process that we came to a overwhelming selection of Jalen Brunson as our National Player of the Year. Jalen is the first Villanova player to win the Oscar Robertson Trophy. He's a 6'3" junior from Lincolnshire, Illinois. Is that the right way to say it, Jalen? Yep. Okay. Didn't want to go with the English Lincolnshire. He averaged 19 points and 4.8 assists this season while making 41.4% from three-point range to lead the Wildcats to a 27-4 regular season record and top seed in the NCAA tournament. The former freshman starter on Villanova's 2016 national title team has been even better in NCAA play, averaging 21 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds to be named most outstanding player in the East Regional and propel the Wildcats to San Antonio in the Final Four. Jalen is a communications major who also is the consummate student athlete. He carries a 3.34 GPA and, as I understand it, is on pace to graduate this summer. He has been named Big East Scholar Athlete of the Year and a second-team Academic All-America by COSIDA. Moreover, if you've ever been around Jalen, you'll be struck by the class and humility that reflect the selfless mindset of being a true point guard. As he accepted the AP National Player of the Year award yesterday, his first words were to express gratitude to his parents for making sure he did everything he was supposed to do in the classroom and as a person ahead of basketball. He thanked coaches from middle school on up and noted that the award really is a team honor. Congratulations, Jalen. We'd love to hear from you on receiving the Oscar Robertson Trophy.
Well, first I just want to say thank you to, again, my parents just for raising me the right way. Being a citizen first, being a student first, and obviously a player last. I just want to thank for the nomination of this award. It really means a lot, especially in your honor. I mean, it was great hearing from you right before we got on stage, and just a lot of history in the game of basketball, and then just to be the first Villanova player ever to win this award. I'm definitely really humbled by that, and just thankful that I have the teammates I have, and the community I have at Villanova, and the coaching staff, Father Peter, athletic director Mark Jackson. There's so many people I can thank, and I'm just so honored to have this moment, especially with Coach Wright, especially with this community that follows us around, and I'm just really humbled and something that I'm going to cherish forever, and just really thankful for this.
And before we hear from Oscar Robertson, love Coach Wright to speak to this moment. And thanks again for making time for this while you guys have some other things going on.
Thanks. Well, it's a great honor, and it's important to be here. We're very proud of Jalen, and we all have great respect for Oscar Robertson, his career, and for the U.S. Basketball Writers Association. We follow this each year too, and to have Jalen, the winner of this award, I think is perfect. I think he exemplifies everything you want a student athlete to do, and especially a Villanova student athlete. He's going to graduate in 3 years. He is receiving this individual honor with a complete commitment to his team. Everything he's done this year is to be a leader on the team, to be unselfish, to think about his teammates first, and he's also one of the best basketball players I've ever been around. I hesitated to say to Oscar as Jalen and I had a thrill talking basketball with him for about 10 minutes before we came up here, and Jalen said to me, "Wow, some of those names you guys were talking about were legendary," and I said to Oscar he could he could back it down a guy and post him up just like you. And then I thought for a second, I said, but he's not that big and powerful. But it is a true honor for Jalen. It's an honor to be Jalen's coach. It's a great honor for Villanova University.
Thank you very much. And now, Oscar, we'd love to invite you to comment. Oscar was our first National Player of the Year winner when the USBWA began giving the award in 1959. And his name's been on the trophy for 20 years now, and it's our pleasure to have Oscar here.
Thank you very much. I think this is wonderful about the Basketball Writers Association. I think they got it right. And I must say this also, that things have changed a lot. When I won this award years ago, they sent a letter to the athletic director, and he told me I'd won the award. So it's a little different now. But it's really wonderful to see a basketball game today and see a young athlete like Jalen to win this award, because I must say, you did it quietly. Your players relied on you to get these things done, and I think that's a tremendous honor. You know, whether you get this or not, but your players, they know what you can do for them. I think it's wonderful. I think you and your coach have done well together. I think anytime you can succeed in a sport like this, it means a lot. And I think that you think that you had a great career so far. It's all in front of you now. And I think you'll be surprised. I mean, the way you play, you're going to be wanted everywhere at the next level. And I'm happy for you. I'm happy for your coach and your team, because I think that when you consistent the way you guys have been, it means a lot. It means a lot of hard work and dedication, a lot of sacrifices too. I mean, sometimes things don't go right for you when you play basketball, but when you get together as a team, that's how you win. And I'm so happy for you, and I congratulate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And now we have a few minutes for questions, I believe, if there are any.
If you have a question for Jalen or Coach Wright or Oscar or Vahe or Joe Mitch, please raise your hand. We'll send a microphone attendant to you. Right down in the front. Let's begin in Philadelphia with Joe.
Oscar, how much do you appreciate guard play in today's game of basketball? And what do you say when a guard like Jalen, who can do so much, wins a major award, Player of the Year award?
It means someone really understands basketball. I think that a guard like Jalen controls the game. I played guard, and I know what it takes. I know how you speed things up, slow things down. You get your team set for the offense. When they all out of proportion, they run out all over the court. You squat and settle down. They watch you, and to see what you can do. If you don't get upset and you stay cool, they're going to do the same thing. And so Jalen's done that this season, and I'd say I think guard play is the key to winning championship basketball games on any level, to be honest.
Continuing with questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand.
We got a crowd that knows it all.
A little slow starter this morning, but here's Mark.
Mark Herman from Newsday in New York. Oscar, just to follow up on that, can you describe how the game has kind of evolved? It seemed like at every level, it's a guard's game now. Where maybe when you played, it was a Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain game, but now guards seem to be the most in demand at every level.
Well, I was talking to Coach Wright a moment ago, but that's because the guard centers, Russell, Chamberlain, Nate Thurman, those defensive players stayed under the basket. Now you don't do that because you got a guy that's 6'11", can go outside and make threes. You got to go out and follow him. So that means you as a guard, there's a lot of territory you can go in and be very, very aggressive going to the basket. And this is why Jalen is so good. I mean, he can post those guards up, and I think it's a tremendous offensive play to be able to do that. Because once you see the thing about it, when you go down there, they don't know what you're going to do. That's the best thing about the whole thing. No, it's really wonderful. So when you don't have centers blocking shots like they did when I played, it's a different basketball game. So, and I think it's great that kids can shoot the ball the way they have. And if you can make it, you can shoot it. I had a brother that could shoot. I mean, he could shoot like that. But he never passed the ball at all.
Let's go back to Joe down in the front.
Jalen, what is your background with the history of basketball? I mean, did your dad talk about it at all when you were growing up, about guys he played with or guys that he admired when he was growing up?
I mean, growing up, my dad always talked about how difficult it is just to be able to stay in the NBA. That's the most important thing he talked about, because that's it's always been my goal is to play at one of the highest levels of basketball. So you always talked about how hard you have to work and how there are some players who were gifted who didn't really have to work as hard to be on the team. But, I mean, why just rely on your talents, or why just rely on your God-given gifts? Like, you have to be able to work as hard as you can, not just on the court, but off the court. I think he instilled that characteristic in me and just said, like, whatever you do, just work hard. There's a lot of players in the NBA or everywhere, who have the ability to do a lot of great things, but they may not put the time or dedication into it. So if you have the talents, you have the hard work ethic, then a lot can happen for you.
We do have some more time for some more questions. If there are any, please raise your hand. Stay down in the front with Mark.
Just to follow up on that, Jalen, who were your basketball idols and who were your dad's basketball idols?
One of my favorite players of all time is Steve Nash, for sure. I guess in today's basketball, I love Chris Paul, the way he plays. Those are my idols just because they're not like overly athletic. They're not going to wow you with like eye-popping, athleticism or quickness or whatever like that. But they lead their team. They get the job done, and they're very smart, and they use their talents and their just their IQ just to get things done. And I really admire that. I really watched the way they played. And for my dad, I don't even know who was his favorite player. That's something I gotta ask him.
We have a question all the way to the left, on the left side of the aisle. We'll use the front left microphone for that.
Oscar, there's a lot of debate today about, there's so much money in college sports about whether athletes, and particularly basketball players, should be paid or in some way. Just curious where you stand on that debate.
I'll tell you a story about Oscar Robertson. When I first was recruited, I went to this one school. I won't tell you his name. I sat there in front of him, and he asked me a question. I was very naive and young. He said, "I know you're not the type of kid who wants money to go to school," and I didn't know what he was talking about. So help me God, I didn't know what he was talking about. I think that the rules that are set forth by the NCAA today are obsolete. I think they got to go back and look and see what's going on in the world, how socially we've changed as a people and whatnot. Some young people come to school to learn different things, whatnot. But what about when you go to a five-star restaurant and you see utensils all over? How do you meet the president? How do you go out to dinner? Do you ever go to the symphony or the ballet to do certain things? There's so much in life other than being in the class sometimes. And when I think Coach knows that when a kid gets in front of a microphone and being asked a question, he should be in control and not be worried about what his answer is going to be. All those types of things are important to me as an individual. I didn't get it when I was in school. I mean, I hardly said a word to anybody because that's the way it was in those days. But now it's different. You have to be accomplished in different ways, and athletic, school, and also socially.
Continuing with questions for anyone on the dais. Okay, with that, we're going to turn things over to Joe Mitch for a statement.
Just to tell you, we are going to honor Jalen at a college basketball awards dinner April 9 in St. Louis. And we're also going to present the National Coach of the Year and Freshman of the Year at that time.
Who should people go to for information?
Well, the event is already sold out. Over 400 and some people have purchased tickets, so it's really a very popular event in St. Louis.
All right, and with that, we're going to congratulate Jalen once again on receiving the Oscar Robertson USBWA National Player of the Year trophy. We'd like to thank everyone for participating this morning. Our next media activity will be 9:55 in breakout room number 3 with Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt from Loyola Chicago. Then we'll be right back here in the main interview room for news conferences following breakouts with Loyola.
Thank you.
And we'll do a photo opportunity for all of our photographers and videographers right now. Everybody want to stand in the middle behind the trophy?